All right, good morning. This is Allison, National Weather Service. I will be taking you through our weekly impact weather briefing being held on Tuesday this week uh, since yesterday was President's Day. Thankfully, seems to be oh, I don't want to use the Q word, but I will, a quieter week. But we'll go ahead and get started and talk about what we're expecting. I'll start with a brief overview of the weather pattern. So right now we've got large area of high pressure over the area and going to lead to clearing out those remaining clouds near the coast and mostly sunny skies, dry conditions today. Then that high pressure is going to slide offshore tonight into tomorrow, but remaining in the area into tomorrow. And then when we get into Thursday, that's when we start to see some boundaries push into the area, some fronts. So Thursday, we'll be watching this backdoor cold front dropping into the area. That could be our biggest wild card as far as sensible weather goes, but we will discuss that momentarily. And then Friday, that boundary kind of waffles around the area, could push north as a warm front, could get hung up over our area. And then finally, moving into the mid to late part of the weekend, you've got that cold front actually pushing through, and then low pressure potentially developing along the coast, and then moving offshore. So overview of what we're looking at this week. So we've got a bit of a warm up coming today, tomorrow, and even through Friday with temperatures well above normal, which is a welcome break, in my opinion, from the frigid temperatures we've been seeing this winter. And then after that stronger cold front pushes through Saturday, we'll start seeing a cool down closer to those seasonable normal temperatures. And then same with these overnight lows, a lot milder overnight, and then turning back to those near or below freezing temperatures late this weekend into early next week. Staying dry today and for the most part Wednesday, although there could be a few showers, especially along the coast, but for the most part dry. And then when we're getting into Thursday afternoon into Friday, that's when we really look for those precip chances to ramp up, and could, with those multiple systems in the area, could potentially see some rain lingering into the weekend as well, but there's more uncertainty with that. And on the temperature side of things, like I mentioned with that backdoor cold front being hung up across the area, those are, really hard to pin down until maybe day of. Unfortunately, that could lead to a big difference in sensible weather. So let's take, for example, you've got Ocean City. There's pretty decent confidence in that being north of the front, leading to those colder conditions in the 40s. And then you've got places to the south, Ahoskie, Windsor, closer to 70. So unfortunately, if that front ends up further south than we're currently thinking, that could be more people in that colder area. Or if it ends up being north of our counties, could have the whole area in those warmer temperatures. And then some of that uncertainty also lingers into Friday as well, just because it's hard to pin down if that front's going to get pushed north as a warm front or if it's just going to hang up across our area. As far as precip goes, so mostly dry, like I said, today and tomorrow. So then when we're getting into Thursday night, looking at 1/4 to 1/2 inch across the north, and then less than 1/4 of an inch across the south. And then going into Friday, that's when we're thinking we'll have probably more significant widespread rain, looking at 1 inch to 1.5 inches, maybe across the north, and 1/2 inch to an inch in the south. I do want to mention, since it is spring fire season, that pretty much our entire area is in D1 or D2 drought. And since, it's spring fire season, even though this is last week's drought outlook and we'll get a new drought outlook on Thursday, this is what we're looking at right now. Even though we did get a good amount of rain over the weekend, unfortunately, it's probably not enough to make much of a dent, given how far below normal we are on precip. All right, looking ahead to next week, we're looking at after that cool down over the weekend and early next week, maybe those above normal temperatures coming back, and then being near to above normal as far as precip goes. All right, switching gears here to our marine hazards. So we've got small craft advisories on the coast. Those linger into tonight. Just due to elevated seas, we've still got 5-foot seas lingering in the area. So we're going to probably hang on to most of these through tonight and possibly even tomorrow, just as we're watching those, what the seas do. And then another round of small craft advisories might be needed on Wednesday, but that would be particularly for the near shore areas, the rivers and the bay. Looking at those winds, lighter southwest winds today, and then tomorrow turning a lot gustier with those near shore areas getting up to, around 25 knot wind gusts. And then just a wider look into this weekend and early next week. So after that gusty period on Wednesday, winds kind of die back again to sub-small craft levels. And then maybe early next week behind that low pressure is when we get another round of stronger northwest winds. All right, finally, our seas. So like I mentioned, we've got those lingering 5-foot seas that potentially go into tomorrow as well, and then falling below that 5-foot threshold thereafter. Alrighty, so that's all I have for you. I will pause on this summary slide for you to read over while I see if anyone has any questions. And if not, have a good day.